Okay. Hi, I'm Joe Pilla, your pop culture monger, and I'm here with
Rich Sands.
and we are talking all about the Emmys. It's Wednesday, they happen Monday, and I think I'm going into a deep depression.
This was kind of a unspectacular Emmys year. First of all, being on Monday night was sucked a lot of the energy out of it, but also the whole idea that it turned into a 3-hour SNL promo.
It was. I thought I was watching the Food Network at like 8 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday when Jada is still asleep, and they just put on an SNL infomercial, and they just didn't seem to have it well thought out. To me, it felt like the last 20 minutes of SNL, which is that part you always go to sleep on, like you never watch it. Like, and the cold open, all I can say is it was cold.
Yeah, I think it was too big of a room for Colin Jost and Michael Che.
But let's go back to the opening number though first.
Oh, okay.
Because they had this song and dance number, and the idea is they had one person of everything. So they had one black man, one lesbian, one Latino, one white girl. And I'm thinking, I don't get this. And if you look at the background, they had this beautiful LED screen where they were putting up all beautiful, great imagery when the nominees were up there, and it was blank the whole time during that scene. Like, there was nothing. There was no montage of all the great shows that are not on NBC, because clearly there's a problem.
Well, I think one of the big problems was this was an Emmy show that didn't celebrate television that's on right now. I mean, rightfully they had to address the Me Too and Time's Up movements, and I think that that's good. But the fact that you have shows like The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel...
Is it Maisel or Maisel?
I don't know.
This is the cast of Mary Tyler Moore, which has more Emmys than probably any other show in the history of Emmys.
Well, Saturday Night Live has the record, but...
Well, that's bogus, because they changed the rules so now that SNL can be nominated for everything under the sun, and they get, 3 actresses nominated in Best Supporting Actress, which is ridiculous. They should be in a whole other category. Don't even get me started on that. But
okay,
continue.
I won't get you started on that.
So annoying. But I love Leslie Jones, and if she would have won, I would have been happy.
So I think even though a lot of the shows that get a lot of buzz, and they knew we're going to get a lot of awards, aren't on NBC, I think it would have been in NBC's best interest to kind of help the audience understand what they were. Maybe one of those skits where they usually have the hosts walking through all the major nominees, and you get a taste of what a show is about.
That's very Oscars. That's very Billy Crystal. And this just seemed like they took these guys that sit behind desks and talk for 10, 12 minutes every Saturday, and they put them standing up, which, okay, they have legs, good to know. But I thought it would have been much better if I was doing the show. I was Lorne Michaels. If Joe Pilla was doing this, what we would have done is they come out, they tell 3 or 4 jokes each, they realize it's not working, they want to be the way the audience is used to seeing them sitting down, and they have this set, and then intermittently throughout the show, like, there's a race from the side where Colin Jost is racing against James Corden and Samantha Bee and somebody else to try and get to the seat. And then Busy Phillips, who has a new late night show coming on E! In a couple of weeks, she's sitting there because she's first. I mean, that to me is not the most innovative thing in the world, but it's fun and it gets more people involved and more people that are used to telling topical jokes.
Yeah, it was just overall a flat show. And then even when they tried with the Maya Rudolph and Fred Armisen thing, which was barely funny the first time, to have to keep coming back to them as all they were doing was highlighting the time that wasn't getting spent celebrating what's on television right now.
And meanwhile, they had one montage that I remember, and it was introduced by the president of the Academy, I believe, who I don't think I've ever seen that president before. He seemed like he was not ready for prime time. And I couldn't believe the montage itself, because parts of it were really quick and you couldn't even see who it was, and it was mixing things from the 70s, yesterday, and the 90s. There was no rhyme or reason to it. And Henry Winkler was in it, which was the only thing I thought was notable because he won an Emmy and he was there. But at the very end, Viola Davis was on as Annalise Keating for an extended period of time, and she wasn't given a great line. She didn't have her wig pulled off. It was just Viola Davis, who's not nominated this year for that part in the lead role. She was nominated for Guest Actress. That's a whole nother controversy. But the idea being, why did you show her for so long? It made no sense. That editor should be fired.
Yeah. Speaking of montages that misfired. The In Memoriam had some problems as well.
Well,
We won't get political here. This has nothing to do with John McCain's political leanings, but he had nothing to do with television.
he wasn't even like a co-host of Meet the Press or like a regular on one of those shows where he had
If they had
some...
shown he cameoed on SNL when he was running for president. If they had shown that, you could have said, all right, we'll give
Right, they showed him coming home from the war, which was just horrifically sad and moving, but
But
not...
had nothing to do with television.
They could have done a montage about news events. They don't... I mean, I've seen that happen before when it's a particularly...
But there is a separate News Emmys award show that...
Right.
So...
Let's go back to In Memoriam for a second. Great job picking Aretha Franklin. That made perfect sense. Love that. But if you're going to bring Tina Fey out on stage, you first got to make sure she has a brush through her hair. And secondly, where's Amy Poehler? Where's Jimmy Fallon? And oh my God, this show is really not funny because you just showed me Tina Fey, who's reinvented how to host an award show. And if I was Colin Jost and I'm Michael Che, I would have handcuffed her to a steam pipe in the back and not let her on stage.
Right. Well, the point you made to me before we came on was that, you don't show Tina Fey in such a small role because all you're doing is reminding the audience that they're not getting more of Tina Fey.
Yeah, that was my point.
Yeah.
Should we do that again?
No, I like
Okay.
the way that happened.
Okay, excellent. Then I hated the way, I hate to use the word hated, but I hated the way the presenters came out after the announcer had said nominated for Best Actress in a Lead Drama, Kerry Russell, Claire Foy, blah, 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 blah. And then these two people do blah, 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 blah. Here's the winner. There was no...
It didn't give the presenters enough to do, and in many cases, they just had this forced banter it seemed like a waste of their time.
I saw on the camera, my mouth was open, And then Angela Bassett, who graduated from the Yale School of Drama, she couldn't even take the time to learn how to pronounce Rachel Brosnahan's name, because I've done it, and no one's even paying me for this, and I only have 25 people are probably going to watch this. So... And basically 25 people watched the Emmys. You, me, Michelle, Rob, and Todd. It was 7 people because no one knew it was on Monday.
Well, and someone, I don't remember who, but whoever gave the award to Merritt Wever mispronounced her name as well.
Her name is Merritt Wever. If you can speak English and read English, you can say, even with an accent,
it
you
looks
can say,
like Wever, but you should know, first of all, she's won before, and if you're presenting a category, why not rehearse the names of the 5 nominees?
It's 10 words, a first name and a last name, and then a title you've probably heard of.
They didn't even say the title. They just said Merritt Wever.
Actually, you're right. I caught that. That was bizarre.
And in a category where, seriously, raise your hand if you've never heard of Godless before.
Well, I heard of
right.
it.
So
I'm the pop
now,
culture mom.
that is...
You're only my co-host.
Yeah,
I know that.
I'm not the full-on...
Lady Mary's in that, and she wasn't even... She was nominated, but she didn't win.
Michelle Dockery.
I was afraid that there was going to be an upset, and I felt like Claire Foy and Kerry Russell were just going to take her down because you don't mess up our competitive nature.
Kerry Russell gave us a great moment, though, when her boyfriend, Matthew Rhys, won for lead actor in a drama series for The Americans, and he said, this was following the marriage proposal thing that happened earlier, that she said she'd punch him in the face if he proposed to her.
And you're in trouble when the highlight of the show is the guy that wins an award for directing the Oscars takes 10 minutes to propose to his girlfriend. Glenn Weiss proposed to his girlfriend with his recently deceased mother's engagement ring, and I have to say, I am only 3 degrees removed from him because my girlfriend Jackie was engaged to his brother Michael and was at the Shiva for his mother. 1, 2, 3. I'm very pleased by that. And it's a beautiful ring, and the girl was beautiful too. And our friend Rob knows her. But I know where the ring came from, so I think I one-up him.
Okay.
But anyway, in a nutshell, we hated it. We didn't want to hate it. We were really looking forward to it. It just got worse and worse and worse. And I don't know who has it next year, CBS or ABC, but the number one thing I'm going to say is you have to celebrate television and you have to showcase stars across all networks and channels. all the people were either NBC or a streaming service. I don't even think, I could be wrong, but I don't think there was anyone from CBS or ABC on the show, and if there were one or two.
Well, James Corden presented an award.
James
right.
Corden presented
But
an award.
they could have done more to bring in people.
Streaming was okay, but there was no one of any stature. So anyway, we're signing off. We're really disappointed that it was so poor. And now, I don't think anyone's going to watch next year. Unless, of course, you watch our videos, and then you know more about the nominees, who's going to be nominated, who is nominated, and then we help you to win your Oscar pool, which, your Emmy pool, which on the minimal ballot, I got 11 right.
I don't know how many I got right.
I was so disinterested that when it was over, I didn't even check the scores. I just didn't care. Anyway, follow us on Facebook.
Subscribe to this channel.
And
leave comments. Let us know what you think, what you like, what you didn't like about the Emmys. We know there's nothing you wouldn't like about us.
No, except it's getting dark out and we're having lighting issues, but I'll ask my friend Paul Denizio. I probably said that right. Angela Bassett. Oh. Anyway, thanks for watching.